On a quiet, dusty roadside near a forgotten American town, a sleek Bentley stood still, its engine coughing smoke into the air. Mr. Dalton, a billionaire known for his wealth and pride, slammed the car door and shouted into his phone, demanding help that clearly wasn't coming. The townspeople peeked from behind shop doors and dusty windows, watching but keeping their distance. No one dared to approach, except Maya. Just 12 years old, Maya wasn't your average girl. She wore oil-stained overalls and walked with the confidence of someone twice her age. A wrench peeked out of her back pocket, her ponytail messy, her boots dusty. She strolled up to the angry billionaire with a mischievous grin that didn't match her size. The crowd held their breath. Dalton turned, annoyed, only to find this grease-covered girl staring at his luxury car like it was a toy puzzle. "Wanna bet I can fix that thing, mister?" she said, her voice calm and full of quiet challenge. The crowd murmured. Was she serious? A girl? Fix a Bentley? But there was something in her tone, something unshakable. Dalton blinked, caught off guard not just by the absurdity of her offer, but by the steel in her eyes. He laughed, more out of disbelief than humor, unaware that this moment was about to become one he would never forget. The girl had more than confidence, she carried the spirit of someone who had something to prove, and everything to give. A small crowd had begun to gather along the roadside, storekeepers, farmers, kids on bikes, all whispering and pointing at the strange sight of a billionaire and a little girl facing off beside a smoking Bentley. Mr. Dalton, still half amused and half impatient, crossed his arms and looked down at Maya with a smirk. "All right, kid," he said, letting the sarcasm drip from his voice. "You fix my Bentley in under an hour, and I'll give you anything you want. Deal?" Without hesitation, Maya nodded. "Deal." A collective gasp rippled through the onlookers. Was this girl out of her mind? Fixing a Bentley wasn't a game, it was an elite machine, even most trained mechanics wouldn't dare touch it without high-end tools. But Maya didn't flinch. She calmly pulled her sleeves up, tied her hair back, and reached for the hood. Dalton leaned against the car, chuckling under his breath. This was entertainment, nothing more. But what no one knew, not even Dalton, was that Maya had grown up under the hood of old trucks and engines. Her late father, a humble mechanic, had spent every weekend teaching her the trade with patience and love. While other kids played video games, Maya sorted bolts, learned timing, and rebuilt carburetors. Now, as she peered into the engine, her hands didn't shake. She didn't fumble. The smirk on Dalton's face slowly faded as he watched this tiny girl go to work, with precision, purpose, and the kind of focus only passion could teach. Beneath the opened hood, Maya's small hands moved with practiced grace. Loosening a hose, checking a connection, adjusting the ignition coil. The engine was a mess, but she didn't hesitate. Her brow furrowed in concentration as the afternoon sun bore down, but her mind was somewhere deeper, somewhere filled with memory. In flickering moments, the crowd and the Bentley faded. In her mind's eye, she was back in a cluttered garage, sitting cross-legged beside her dad as he held up a spark plug and said, "This little thing? It's the heart of the fire." His voice calm, his hands worn, guiding hers as she turned wrenches that felt too big back then. Back in the present, Maya blinked and wiped sweat from her brow, her fingers moving instinctively over the parts like a musician tuning an old guitar. She found the fault, a cracked coil, missed by the wealthy man's hired mechanics, and got to work repairing it with what little she had in her toolkit. Dalton, who had been amused, now stood silent. His phone forgotten in his hand. His smile gone. He watched, not as a man observing a curious child, but as someone slowly understanding the depth of what he was seeing. This wasn't luck. This wasn't a stunt. This was the echo of love, of countless hours shared between a father and daughter, burned into muscle memory. He saw it now, her gift wasn't mechanical, it was emotional. It was legacy, passed down in every turn of the wrench. Maya slid into the Bentley's driver's seat, her small frame barely visible behind the wheel. The crowd leaned in, holding their breath. The sun had dipped lower in the sky, casting a warm glow over the tense scene. Dalton stood motionless, arms crossed now not in arrogance, but in anticipation, his smirk long gone. She took a breath, turned the key. For a second, silence. Then, vroom, the engine came to life, humming low and smooth, like it had just rolled off the showroom floor. The crowd erupted in cheers, clapping and laughing in disbelief. Someone whistled. A boy on a bike shouted, "She did it." Maya didn't smile right away. She just listened to the sound, the rhythm she knew so well. Then, slowly, she looked up at Dalton. He approached her, his steps hesitant, eyes locked on the girl who had done what no expert he hired could. He looked at her not like a billionaire looking at a kid, but like a man humbled by something bigger than money. "Who taught you this?" he asked, his voice softer now, almost reverent. Maya glanced down at her hands, stained with oil and memory. "My dad," she said quietly. "He died last year. But I remember everything he showed me." Dalton nodded, visibly moved. His jaw tightened. His eyes, usually cold and calculating, shimmered just slightly. In that moment, the Bentley was no longer the center of attention. Maya was. And what she had brought back to life wasn't just an engine, it was something human. Something real.